Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night. And hello. This is Musa, Matt Mitchum Jr. broadcasting. I, I've really been motivated. I, I when I started doing my YouTube station, I, I usually could give a good show when I'm motivated. When something is really bothered me, I really can do a really good show. And I was really motivated today. I was motivated. Let me tell you about what happened to me today. But it has something to do with my formula. Remember, if you have been following me, you know that I have added another variable to my formula. That variable is M, and that M is morality. I think morality in ethics, I think what is moral and what is ethical, I think that those two concepts are related. I think that they are, when you define those two concepts, ethics and morality, th- I think in themselves they are unique, but they're really close together. It's like something like a Siamese twin. Ethics and morality, and I think that the subject that I'm going to talk about will deal with ethics and morality today. And now that it just occurred to me that the word ethics became a concept for me, I'm beginning to think that I may have to add another variable to my formula. And that variable, perhaps, maybe it will be E for ethics. Okay, I think ethics and morality deal with the issue of what is right and what is wrong. I think, and a lot of it has to do with sociological indoctrination. In other words, in what culture do you exist in, or what culture you were born in? And so I think they're closely related, but in themselves, ethics and morality are unique. I want to talk about some issues. I've really had a very interesting day today here in the wonderful city of Nairobi, Kenya. I had a very interesting day. Very interesting. I would like to share it with my viewing audience. I I've just arrived in Kenya. I've been in Kenya, maybe 2 weeks. I come to Kenya in from, actually, I started in Rwanda and I worked my way through Uganda, and now I'm in Kenya, and I've only been here maybe about 2 weeks. But I lived in Kenya for about 10 years before I went back to the US. But now I'm back in Kenya, and I'm back into the community that I was in when I was living in Kenya before. And I want to talk about an issue, an incident that happened just within the last few hours. And I said, I've got to give a broadcast because I am really motivated over this. Okay, I'm trying to get a phone. Uh, Basically, I'm trying to, just getting situated, and everything seems to be done but automated, by the phone here. You order. you pay your bills by phone, and you go to the bank by phone. Well, I'm trying to keep my electricity on so I can have electricity in my little studio. And I'm seeing that I need. Okay, I've just gotten here. That's a way that you pay it. You pay it. They call it. They got something called M-Pesa and Safaricom, and you do it all on the telephone. And they got so technical that you just can't go and just pay for your electricity. But anyway, I went to the supermarket just it's a supermarket just where I live, and I paid the clerk, the agent, you know, to get the tokens for my electrical bills, but it didn't work. Things didn't work out right. So what happened was it ended up being that the agent made a mistake, and see the money is going through the phone. It's going through the phone, and when it was all the money that I gave for my electrical bill, it got all messed up. But it ended up in a place they call in M-Pesa. That's you go to your phone and you say this is where the money is. It says confirm M-Pesa has received the amount of money that you paid. But I went through a process. I went through two different. I went through the carrier on my phone. I went through an agent in the supermarket, and I had to go through M-Pesa. Okay, the mistake was made. The money. Okay, the thing is, the people who my phone carrier told me that they did not go through the process of helping you. You know that process that you go through to pay your electrical bill. It's a long story, but they said they did that. They and Safaricom had split. They weren't working together anymore. So the money that I gave to the agent in the supermarket, it didn't go to the electrical company, but it went to M-Pesa, and I could, and what happened was I got a message from M-Pesa which said confirm that M-Pesa has received the funds. And it was up right on my phone, in black and white. So that meant that since okay, we were having issues. The money, okay, I didn't get the tokens to pay my electrical to pay the expense of my electricity. So the money didn't go to the the power company. The money, and it showed on my phone that the money went to M-Pesa. But the thing is, I was supposed to get my money back. So the my phone carrier and the supermarket told me that I should go to M-Pesa to get my refund because that's where the money ended up, and there was proof of it. On my phone, it said that M-Pesa had received, and they confirmed that they had received the amount of money that I gave to the agent at the supermarket. The guys at M-Pesa, I said, I went to M-Pesa, and I said, well, they made a mistake when I was trying to get my tokens to pay my electrical bill. I said, I went to M-Pesa, and I said, there was a mistake, and the money is here. According to my phone, it says that it's been confirmed that M-Pesa has the money, and it was right there on my phone. M-Pesa has the money, and this is the confirmation number, and this is the amount of money that M-Pesa has right there in black and white. So I said, all the other agencies that I was working with, who was helping me to set up, whoever was helping me to get this electrical bill paid, even though it went through them, but the money ended up at M-Pesa, and I had proof. My phone showed proof that the money was at M-Pesa. It said M-Pesa confirms that it has received this amount of money. So I said, well, since that mistake was made and it started somewhere else, but we do know where the money is. I said, so I went to M-Pesa. I said, can I get the refund? And they said, no. I said, but it's right here on my phone that the money ended up here. and they told me at M-Pesa that I would have to be in order to get, since I wasn't enrolled with their phone line, which is Safaricom, that I could not get any money. Could not get any refund. I said it was a mistake, and the money it belongs to me, and it was a mistake that it came here, and I'm showing you right here that you have the money, which I would like to refund. Oh my goodness, I should not have done that. So the agent who I was talking to, she gets up. She said, "Let me go talk to the manager." So the manager comes out. I mean, the manager comes out, and she was really bad. I mean, she said, "What do you want?" I said, "Well, I have a refund. I just come to get a refund, and my phone can prove that the money here is here at the desk. So you can't get it." I said, "But it, I said, "Well, it shows here that you have the money, and it was a mistake." Boy, I didn't get the money. In fact, the manager got up and she got rude. I said, "Wow." I mean, this lady was getting ready to call security on me. I said, "Wow." I said, "You're corrupt. You're a crook." Boy, yes, yes, yes. I said that. And I walked out of Safaricom and walked back to the supermarket where it all started. So I went to the lady who started this transaction, which was forfeited. And I said, "Well, what do I do? I gave you 500 shillings." And so that's all it was. We're talking about principle. So I said, I gave you this, and we made a mistake, and they won't give me the refund at M-Pesa. Boy, that lady got it. The other lady, she got mad, but she was just yelling at me. So I said, "Okay." So I go talk. I go around. I'm in the supermarket, so I go to another window, and I talk to a male supervisor, and I said, "Look, I paid this amount of money when I came in this morning. The money, there was a mistake made." And I said, "Where is this money?" I said, "Doesn't it say that the money is at M-Pesa right here?" He looked, I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yes." So what is the problem? Why can't I just pick up the money? That's how my day began today. To make the long, boring story short, I was able to get the refund from where the money started. But where the money really was is still there. But I guess they were so embarrassed that they started the procedure. So I got a refund. Okay. I thought I could share that with you. But I'm going to come back to it. It's about ethics and morality. And, what it's amazing how human beings can actually be looking at the truth. They can be actually looking at the truth. In other words, you look and you see two men, and there are people and say, "No, there's not two men there." For real. I've noticed that you can actually, people, I've seen it, and that they are actually looking at the truth, and yet they deny the truth. I guess this sort of reminds me of the legal profession. I guess this is how they say a lawyer is a liar. I mean, wow. And I'm coming to something. And that what I'm coming to is ethics. What I'm coming to is morality. What I'm coming to is doing the right thing, despite what everybody else is doing. And I think that doing the right thing has a lot to do with our destiny. It's what the Eastern philosophers they call it karma. But if we study history and if we study personalities and we study the times and if we study the things that people do, And then over a period of time, these people who commit big crimes, eventually it all catches up with them and they are punished for that wrongdoing that they did. Hitler, he had to commit suicide. Mussolini, who was a friend of Hitler, oh, they beat him up, fed him to, they beat him up and fed him to the flies. He and his lover, Mussolini was a very good friend of Hitler. And what they did was they took Mussolini, tied him up, beat him, put him and his lover against the wall, and the flies and the worms ate them in broad daylight. And you go all the way back to the biblical times, look what happened to the pharaohs. Or take Ted Bundy. I'm sure many of you have heard of Ted Bundy. That guy was ferocious too. He ended up in the electric chair. I mean, however, I'm sure his eyes popped out of his head when they brought his punishment. I remember just shortly, I was going to YouTube. I was looking at YouTube, and what happened was I was looking at president, the former president of Liberia. His last name was Doe. What happened was Doe was a young man when he took over in Liberia. He was an indigenous Liberian. In other words, he was an original Liberian of that ethnic group. But what happened was he overthrew the president of Liberia by violence. In other words, they murdered the president of Liberia. And after they murdered the president of Liberia, what they did was all of his executive officers, they pulled them, they put them half naked. They had them to march through the streets of Monrovia, which is the capital of Liberia, and they marched uh, all of the former president's officers, executive officers. They lined them up and they made them walk the streets half naked. And they finally got them to the beach and they tied them against the trees and they executed all of them. I don't know how many it was, those officers who were killed or executed. But Doe, the young man who took over Liberia, he had this to be done to the leader of Liberia and his executive team. Okay, so years go by, several years go by, and the young man who becomes Mr. Doe, young man who has killed the former president and humiliated his whole staff, and after humiliating them, he killed them all in public. So many years, several years passed by, and there was disturbance in Liberia, and you had, I guess you would call it something like a civil war. They caught him. The enemy caught Mr. Doe, who took over the presidency when he killed the former president. They took Mr. Doe and they drug him into a hall. They stripped him basically all the way down to his underwear. They stabbed him in the leg. The whole torture. They cut his ear off. And he was that Mr. Doe, who was president, who took the power, who killed the previous president and humiliated his staff. They cut his ears off. They stoned him. This is the president of Liberia. They stoned him. They cut his fingers off. Of course, they killed him and they castrated him. And this was the president of Liberia, the former president. So when we do wrongs, When we do wrongs against our fellow man, and if we do terrible wrongs against our fellow man, it's guaranteed that the same type of treatment you will encounter the same type of treatment or worse. So that's why I take the stand of loving humanity. That's why I take the stand of trying to do things good for humanity because I believe in karma. I believe in whatever we give to the world gives back to us. If we give the world nothing, why should we expect anything? If we give the world hell, expect hell to come in our direction. I guess, but let's talk about the tyrant or tyranny, or one who takes that position and he's just ruthless, or she's just ruthless. I wonder what goes into the minds of people like that when they just totally mistreat other human beings. Are they thinking? Are they thinking that whatever I do to this man, that same will come to me? So that's why I take the stand. My platform is saving humanity. My platform is talking about compassion. My platform is talking about having respect for the human entity. That's my platform. But this is Musa, Matt Meacham Jr., signing off.